The stretch of highway that cut through the desert was a ribbon of asphalt twisting and turning under the relentless sun. It was here, in the blistering heat and the endless expanse of sand, that the trucker, known only as the Reaper, roamed. His rig was a behemoth, a monster of metal and diesel that prowled the highways like a predator hunting its prey. Its darkened windows hid whatever horrors lay within, leaving only the silhouette of a man behind the wheel whose soul was as black as the smoke belching from his exhaust. Folks said the Reaper was a ghost, a phantom of the desert who appeared out of nowhere and disappeared just as quickly. They said he only came out at night, his headlights cutting through the darkness like twin daggers as he hunted for victims to add to his grim tally. I first heard of the Reaper from a gas station attendant in a sleepy little town nestled at the edge of the desert. He spoke in hushed tones, his eyes darting nervously towards the horizon, as if afraid the Reaper might appear at any moment. "They say he's got a taste for blood," the attendant whispered, his voice barely louder than the rustle of the wind outside. "They say he'll run you down without a second thought, like a bug on the windshield of his rig." I laughed it off at the time, dismissing it as nothing more than a tall tale spun by bored locals looking to spice up their mundane lives. But as I drove deeper into the desert, the stories began to weigh on my mind like a stone in my gut. It was nearing midnight when I saw-eyed a pair of headlights cutting through the darkness like twin stars in the night sky. I pulled over to the side of the road, my heart pounding in my chest. As the rig drew closer, its engine roaring like a beast awakened from slumber. As it passed, I caught a glimpse of the driver's shadowy figure with eyes as cold and dead as the desert itself. And in that moment, I knew that the Reaper was no mere legend. He was real, and he was hunting me. I tried to outrun him, but his rig was faster, its engine roaring like a demon possessed as it bore down on me like a vengeful god. And as I stared into the headlights that bore down on me like twin suns, I knew that my time had come. But just as I braced for the impact, a blinding light filled the sky, illuminating the desert 4 miles around. And when I opened my eyes, the Reaper was gone, vanished into the darkness like a ghost in the night. They say the Reaper still roams the highways, his rig a harbinger of death for all who dare to cross his path. And as I drive through the desert, I can't help but wonder if he's still out there, waiting in the shadows for his next victim to appear on the Devil's Highway. The highway stretched out before me, like a snake winding through the desert, its asphalt ribbons disappearing into the horizon. As I drove, the sun dipped below the mountains, casting long shadows across the empty road. I'd heard the stories, whispered in truck stops and diners along the route, a killer truck driver known only as the Shadowman. They said he prowled the highways at night, his rig a silent predator, stalking its prey. I didn't believe it at first, dismissing it as the ramblings of weary travelers. But as the miles passed and the darkness descended, a chill settled in my bones. And I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. It was nearing midnight when I saw the headlights in my rearview mirror, a pair of blazing eyes cutting through the darkness like twin stars. I sped up, hoping to outrun whatever lurked behind me, but the headlights stayed with me, drawing closer with each passing moment. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest as the rig pulled alongside me, its engine growling like a hungry beast. I glanced over, expecting to see a face behind the wheel, but all I saw was darkness, a void as black as the night itself. And then, without warning, the rig swerved, its massive bulk bearing down on me like a tidal wave. I slammed on the brakes, but it was too late. The truck collided with my car, sending me spinning off the road, and into the desert night. When I came to, the rig was gone, vanished into the darkness like a ghost in the night. I stumbled out of the wreckage, my head swimming with confusion and fear. And as I surveyed the desolate landscape, I realized that I was not alone. In the distance, I saw shadowy figures moving in the darkness, their eyes gleaming like coals in the night. I tried to run, but they were everywhere, surrounding me like a pack of wolves closing in for the kill. I screamed for help, but my cries were swallowed by the desert silence. And as the shadows closed in around me, I knew that I was doomed that I would join the ranks of those who had fallen prey to the Shadowman's twisted game. They say the Shadowman still roams the highways, his rig a specter of death haunting the night. And as I lie here in the darkness, waiting for the end to come, I can't help but wonder if he's out there, watching and waiting for his next victim to appear on the highway of shadows. The highway stretched out like a black ribbon cutting through the heart of the night. It was past midnight, and I was the lone traveler on this desolate stretch of road, my headlights cutting through the darkness like a beacon in the night. They called me Charlie, a drifter with no destination and no home to call my own. Hitchhiking was my way of life, and I'd heard my fair share of stories along the way. But nothing could have prepared me for what I was about to encounter on this lonely highway. It started with a rumble in the distance, a low growl that echoed through the night, like thunder rolling across the plains. I glanced in my rearview mirror, expecting to see another car approaching, but what I saw sent a shiver down my spine. It was a truck, a massive rig barreling down the highway like a juggernaut, its headlights blazing like the eyes of some ancient beast. But it was the driver that chilled me to the bony, shadowy figure behind the wheel, its face hidden in the darkness. I tried to shake off the feeling of unease that gripped me, telling myself it was just my imagination running wild. But as the rig drew closer, I could feel the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end, a primal instinct warning me of the danger that lurked ahead. Without warning, the rig swerved, its massive bulk bearing down on me like a tidal wave. I swerved to avoid the collision, but it was too late. The truck clipped the side of my car, sending me spinning off the road and into the darkness beyond. When I came to, the rig was nowhere to be seen, vanished into the night like a ghost in the wind. I stumbled out of the wreckage, my head swimming with confusion and fear. And as I surveyed the desolate landscape, I realized that I was not alone. In the distance, I saw them figures moving in the darkness, their eyes gleaming like embers in the night. I tried to call out to them, but my voice caught in my throat, choked off by the overwhelming sense of dread that washed over me like a tidal wave. They say that on this stretch of highway, the spirits of those who have fallen prey to the midnight trucker still roam, their souls trapped in an endless cycle of torment and despair. And as I stand here in the darkness, I can't help but wonder if I'll join them, forever doomed to wander this lonely highway until the end of time.